Dumelang.
Dumela, okay?
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you guys?
We good.
Good.
I believe you guys know each other since, well, you all were in the same grade and
No.
your moms were.
Yeah. I know Dineo very well.
No, I don't know this person. Who's this person?
What?
I
You
don't.
call you because Omopedi probably used to say Vhonani.
I don't know him. Who's this person? Like,
Get lost.
come from?
You don't know
Wow.
Mama. You
No,
don't know Mama
like I'm not
son.
joking, you guys. Like, this is the first time I hear, like, even his name, Joe. I don't know who this person is.
How do you not know Maboa's son? That's highly impossible.
No, I don't know him. I don't even like. He did not even. I don't know this person.
He did
That's
not
fine.
even. What do you mean?
Maybe he's part of the body count that she wants to like forget.
No,
What?
I honestly don't know him. It's not like he lived like 3 minutes away from my house, guys.
It's not like
Yeah, we
okay.
practically grew up together. Of course, I know who he is. And you know, for the first time ever, like Paul was like, "I'm bringing a psychologist," and then I was like, "Okay." He did not even say who the psychologist is.
Yeah, well, nobody responded. We all just kept quiet, so I kept it moving. Nobody asked, "Who is it?" Oh, goody! It's like when when you all heard psychologist, it was like, we don't want to shrink.
Yeah,
So
we have psychological problems, Paul.
that's why I brought him. Okay. Anyway, for the listeners who don't know you, and for the sake of Dini as well, Vhonani, can you just please tell us who you are, what you do, and what qualifies you to be in this conversation?
Yeah. So I'm a young man. I grew up from a town called Modimolle. Well, that's not where I was born. I was born in another town called Mokopong. So I grew up and matriculated in Modimolle, and after matriculating there, I went to complete a degree in sociology and psychology. After that, I then completed an honors degree in psychology. And then currently I'm completing a master's degree in clinical psychology. And then I've worked a bit in the Department of Health as an intern clinical psychologist. So that was at Mankweng Hospital and Pietersburg Provincial Hospital. So I was rendering psychological services there. And I'm also involved in mentoring prospective clinical psychology master students through a organization called Cognition & Co. So it's a South African psychology student network. And then my research interest lies in gender-based violence. I've written a chapter in a book by Professor Sithole. She was my honors supervisor. So my chapter was looking at the silence around male victims of gender-based violence. Currently, my master's research is looking at the role of men, or what role can men play in reducing gender-based violence. And I think that's a bit about me.
Can we call you doctor yet? Because your name is too long and people ruin it.
Not yet. I think
How long before we call you doctor?
when I finish a PhD, I'm hoping to enroll for a PhD next year. If I should finish my master's this year, I'm hoping to finish this year so that next year I start with a PhD. Then you can call me doctor. Well, some patients did mistakenly call me doctor, but I just let it slide. But officially, I'm not a doctor.
Oh, okay. But
yeah,
because you are going to be one, I think we can just start calling you Doc. For the sake of this podcast, you will be referred to as Doc for the sake of this podcast.
Well, for the sake of the podcast, it's fine.
You know, I have a lot of friends who are in the medical field, né?
Yeah.
And when they introduce themselves, like it's a very lengthy introduction, like what he just did now. And I feel like there's like a lot of eloquence in their speech and all of that. So kudos for you. Kudos to you for doing that. You know, like I don't know why you guys have to overemphasize yourselves all the time. It's like, have you met like even a doctor? Like I'm Dr. Mlaudzi. In 2016, I was doing a research and I did what, and then I finished in 2019. I went to Kenya to study. That's what they do, man. Kudos for you guys. Like you study a lot, so
I
you really
remember
do.
I remember back in, I think it was during the days I used to work in the bank. So like everyone's name gets printed on the bank card of the bank I used to work for. So there's one dude I opened an account for as a doctor. And then like instead of printing his doctor title on it, I printed Mr. And to get a card replacement back then cost like $40. And like this dude spent the $40 just so that the like you could get a new card with the doctor title on it.
No, that's him pushing it though.
No, but I get it. Like, hey, if I go
He
to
earned his stripes. He earned his stripes, so he has to.
if I go to school, as long as you guys go to school, and like the hard work and effort that just goes into like finally earning that title, I would also like demand of people to respect that title. So yeah, I get it. I get it.
But now, I think, don't you find that, or don't you think that, some people, because of the title, start treating you differently? I think it's gonna be the case, isn't it?
That's true.
The moment you say I'm a doctor, it changes. Like, yo, wow, it's no longer I'm respecting you because of a human being, but I'm respecting you because you are a doctor.
But maybe it's because we live in a country where, like, when you like, especially in terms of service delivery, but I think it's a universal thing. Like, even when a rich person walks in, like, the treatment changes anyway. So, like, it's only natural that it would be the same for a doctor. Oh, like, you're a doctor, you know? So, yeah.
Oh, it's true. It's true.
And, like, if you can use, like, who you are to, like, get good service or get ahead in whatever, why would you not use it? You know?
Yeah, in a way.
And then people still complain about corruption, but all of us are corrupt. Like we all have our power, but then we have the right to complain about all these politicians who are doing exactly what we are doing in our normal lives. It's like you guys just don't know what you want.
I'm not corrupt. Me, I'm the only one who's not corrupt.
The most corrupt people always say that.
I'm not corrupt.
Guys,
Never.
we are not here to interrogate the doctor. He's here to help us. Linala Mugova.
And before we start, this is what I have to say. I feel like I don't trust psychologists. I feel like they just study and master manipulation. So you know what?
Wow.
Yeah,
maybe can I entertain that? Why do you say that? Why don't you trust them?
Well, you guys are basically studying manipulation. You're studying my brain and how it works. And then you're going to ask me a couple of questions, and based on what I say, you're going to diagnose me with something, and then ask me other things so that I can say other things, and then you diagnose me. So that is manipulation in simple terms.
But okay,
but a medical doctor will also do the same, isn't it?
All of y'all are manipulators.
Okay, can I defend it? Because like, it's not necessarily manipulation, but I think like psychologists sort of they help us to like unclutter what's already in our minds and like be able to group it and then like learn how to solve it in an orderly fashion. Because I don't think like everyone knows how to like self-assess themselves. Like a lot of people are just like, I am going through so much or so much is happening in my head, but I can't exactly pinpoint what's what and get to the root cause of things and like then in a orderly fashion unravel it and solve it. So I think
manipulated.
But if you have a real mental disorder, a real problem, be it anxiety or whatever the case may be, I would be helping you, isn't it?
Yeah, well, and in all seriousness, I'm just kidding. You guys help us a lot, and I feel like I'm super happy that you're here because mental health has been like a very big problem for us.
That's true.
And now I feel like it's even worse. Now it's even worse because like everyone is just going through something and we don't know what to do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So let's put him on the spot. Since he's here, let's put him on the spot so he can't say no. Since we know him, from now on, whenever we need like a psychological expertise on whatever we're talking about on the podcast, we're gonna call him. So he is now this show's resident psychologist. Just like that. You are hired.
How much am I getting paid? Yo, let's talk money.
$250.
Right now you can just...
You get paid more knowledge. You get paid more knowledge and more customers.
And we are with our presence.
Oprah made Dr. Phil, so maybe like we can the next Dr. Phil. You know? Yeah.
Well, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. You can hit me up. I'll be the next Dr. Phil then.
And in the meantime, you can just keep on like writing the quotations, and when we finally rich and have money, you can just give them to us, and you'll know how much you get. Yeah,
I'll start writing. I'll start writing for sure.
What I wanted us to talk about today was like in reference to something Dineo has kept hammering on for as long as this podcast has existed. I think which is like 26 episodes. I think I was in like one of our early episodes where we were talking. Let me introduce this properly though. Since it's February and like everyone has dubbed it the month of love, or like the people who sell candy and teddy bears have dubbed it the month of love, so we can buy things. We decided to roll with it. So for the next 4 episodes, we're going to be like exploring this topic from different angles and different perspectives. And the doctor will be joining us for all 4 of these episodes. So what I wanted to like start off with was I don't know if I'm phrasing it right, but I remember when we were talking about breakups, Dineo, you said you don't get heartbroken because like you break up with someone before you break up with them, right? And for me, I don't know if I asked you this back then. I don't think I did. But like, was that like something that your mind came to like a conclusion to like, you know what, before shit gets real, let me do this? Was this like after some shit happened, or was like has that just been like a thing? Nje?
No, it's just how I am. We are all different. There are people who hold on to things and they hold on to them and then they don't want to let things go. And there are people like me who just I don't know how to describe myself, but it's just how I deal with things. It's like I told you once or maybe 2 times or maybe 3 times, maybe 4 episodes, I'm not sure, that I'm a I'm an actions person, and once those actions stop, I get uninterested completely. Love leaves the room, and 2 weeks later, boom, it's over and life goes on. So that's just it. That's just how I am. I'm not a ride or die chick. It's like if you're not doing the right things, we are leaving because my brain just leaves the room
Yes,
and love runs away.
I get that.
And then
I get that. But I am a firm believer that everyone gets like this is your code or what. But like every code comes from somewhere. So I want to understand where that one comes from. Because I don't it's just me. And like
well,
I don't
I don't think so. I don't think so. I just feel like we just deal with things differently because we think differently and we see things differently, and that's just how I deal with things.
Has it always been like that? Or like, let's say
you're not
you are
answering my
dating
Yeah,
question.
somebody
That's
it
the
has.
thing.
since from the beginning.
It's there's
Yes, it has. It has always been like that. It has always been how I did things. Even a 5-year friendship, boom, ends,
but
and then
Mm,
we move
but
on.
they had okay, let me bring the doc into this.
Mm.
Because I think, I think like everything has a root cause. So I think like this has a root cause. For me, it sounds like abandonment issues.
It sounds like.
Abandonment issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it sounds like cut you off before like uh you know shit gets real because I've seen how this goes down. So
Mm.
No,
before
it's not that. Let me correct you on something, Nepo.
mm,
There are people who see that a relationship does not work and decide to still continue with it, and then they still have that hope that maybe it's going to work out, be it a relationship, a friendship, or whatever. So I see things for what they are, and then I just decide with myself that no, we are ending this. So by the time we break up, I have already concluded with myself that you know what, I'm breaking up with this person and it's ending because it's not working because they're not doing the right things. So it's not I break up with you because you hurt me. No, the hurt has already been done. But what I'm saying is that I decide and then I cut you off.
Akeha,
And
like
then,
everything you're saying, I am
Mm-hmm.
so clear on that. I wanted like what I wanted to know was like where like this philosophy stemmed from, like as a 1 year old or as a 2 year old or whatnot, like what made
Mm.
you like want to practice this philosophy and be like, this is what it is, and like, that's what I wanted to know. I hear what you're saying loud and clear, and it's like,
it's just how I've always done things. It's as simple as that.
Mm.
Doc, what's
Mm.
in
I think I get what you are trying to say, Paul, because
mm,
most of our behaviors, especially in relationships, uh, they have a root.
mm,
Almost all our behaviors, how we approach conflict in a relationship has a root. Um, I think what you are even saying sounds more like almost where did you learn that way of dealing with things? Almost like I will leave before I leave. I will leave
exactly
before
like
you
was
put.
this learned like from experience or like learned by observing or whatnot?
Mm.
Because
If you think if you think of someone perhaps who is too attached in the relationship, we can trace that perhaps to when they were an infant, to say that perhaps their mother was too attached, like too affectionate with the child. Perhaps the child learned that almost that attachment from the parental figure.
mm,
So even I think I understand your question as to where did you learn that. trying to understand the root. And it might be a bit difficult for Dino to pinpoint where exactly, because some we don't know. Perhaps I'm that one who says I hate girls who are too attached. I don't know where I learned it. Perhaps I learned it from my uncle or from my father or somewhere.
But all of our is all human behavior learned behavior? Because I think it was even you, Dino, who said like when a kid is born, a kid knows nothing. Everything that they know, again, I don't know whether I'm phrasing this right, but like we are born like blank slates, or like I can liken us to like a sponge that like soaks up like whatever it gets dipped into. So yeah, I just wanted to know like whether it's learned behavior, or out of experience, or like out of observation, or all that.
Okay. For me personally, just like Vhoni just said, that sometimes you learn things and you don't even know where you learned them from. Like for me, I've always been like this. Even in childhood, I don't even know where I saw it, where I learned it, whatever, but that's just how I deal with things. That's that. But we did say that, yeah, vele vele, we are born like that, and certain things that happen in our lives, like, sort of shape the way we think. Maybe past traumas, how you grew up, society, what you feel in your mind, the things that you watch all the time, what you read up on, and maybe what you see also. I think maybe that is where I learned it from, when I saw it through other people that I know. We are not about to be clowns here. They, clownery that's happening here. So maybe my brain just made that into like a defense mechanism thing. I don't know. We are not going aware of our psychological changes and the habits that pile on until they become a thing. I'm not really sure. But yeah, I think maybe it's because I don't want to be a clown.
But do you think, because I totally agree with you, because I think like I am like you to an extent, like my stance on marriage, and like me saying, well, marriage is for the birds, don't get married, I don't see the point of it, is like out of observing other people's marriages and being like, but this failed, and like this failed, like we thought that would never end, but this failed. So like in conclusion, what chance do we have? Well, what like, and then like there are other people that like regardless what they observe and see, they only like learn through experience. Like for them, regardless of the statistics, you can show them, hooray, so many marriages fail, or so many relationships fail, this and this and this, like until like they do it themselves, and then like maybe it works, maybe it doesn't work. Like, I'm not disputing that either. But on the other hand, what I also want to know is, I like that you called it a defense mechanism. Do you think that it has hindered you in some ways as well? Like in terms of relationships?
Nah, not really. Not really. But I will say that maybe sometimes I did feel like, especially when it comes to friendships, that maybe I just cut people off too quickly before I gave them a chance to sort of fix their shit. Because your girl is not letting you, like, guys, let's understand one thing, ne? I have a problem. Maybe that's where this comes from, because I have a problem with people who constantly do the same thing, and I have to stick with them for like 10 years and wait for them to fix our problems. It's like, no, we are not doing that. We are honestly not doing that. So maybe I do feel like sometimes I shouldn't, but let me not lie. I don't feel like that. Let me not lie. I honestly don't. I feel like also one thing that I should add is that I'm a very understanding person. So maybe that's why I feel like when I cut you off, I had a damn good reason for cutting you off. So I honestly don't feel like that. And I don't think it has hindered me. Let me not lie. Let me not lie. It hasn't.
Dini?
But what I want to
Can
know
I
is,
ask
I want to know
you?
from each one of you. I want to know how you guys actually deal with breakups. Like now we're talking about how I deal with it. It's like I move before I move. So I want to know from each one of you, including the
Okay,
doctor.
I think he wanted, like, we'll answer your question after, because I think he wanted to, like, say something based on what you said.
I wanted to ask Dine, because you said before you cut someone, you don't,
Yes.
you would have understood, right? You would have been patient with them. Now, my question would be, before you cut them, are you sure you've explored all alternatives? I mean, perhaps this person smokes every day and you don't like it. Have you explored each and every option out there before you cut them, or do you explore what you think I've explored? Has explored these
Yeah,
5
I
things,
mean,
and
there's only
that's
up
it.
to so much you can do for a person. And I feel like before I even cut you off, I've literally done everything in my power personally. Because I guess the thing is, I can't read your mind. I don't know what you need. So I'm going to give you what I think you need, which might not be what you need. But before I cut you off, like, I'm pretty damn sure that, you know what, I did everything that I could. And that's it for us.
And perhaps have you perhaps asked the person, what do you think we should do for you to stop doing this, and maybe get it from their
Yes,
perspective?
I do so many times. Like, what must happen? Okay, most of the time people don't know.
But how do you say it? How do you say it?
No, I just say it like, okay,
Do you say
so
it
this
like
is the
maybe
problem,
20?
and how do you think we should fix it? What should I do? And if you say you don't know, it's like, bruh, if why are we even, yeah. And obviously, like when someone does something over and over and over again, I feel like as a normal person, first of all, it's gonna start with concern, and then it becomes, okay, now I'm getting annoyed. And then in the end, it's just pure anger because, like, bruh, I've spoken to you so many times, you are still doing the same thing.
In most cases, what would it be? What is this thing that tends to? I want to understand their pattern. So, in most cases, what's this thing that makes you keep cutting a person off? Would it be cheating?
Nah, it's not cheating. It's just not being consistent. And I don't like people who somebody just. Well, I don't like people who like do the same thing that's bothering me over and over and over and over again. It's like, bruh. So yeah, basically, as I was saying, like
Can you
you're
hear me?
asking me about like the pattern, like what is it that these people do that like irks me and then makes me cut them off? Can you hear me?
You brought the big English today. Hey, irks
Yeah.
me. Irks
Yes.
me. That's that workful education.
I paid for this shit, so I must use
Irks
it.
me.
Yes, you should.
So yeah, as I was saying, let me not say it again because Paul is getting excited. I'm gonna replace it with piss me off. It's
If you had said it in Afrikaans, then I would have gotten excited. But like, nah.
we're not doing that. So yeah, these people don't do like it's not one specific thing, and it's not cheating. Like cheating, we're not even, bruh. Like I don't know. You would have known how I feel about cheating before you like get together with me. So like there's no question there. If I ever find out, then we are done. Like that's not even a thing. The problem that I have is with consistency. I feel like I'm always there for people. So I want that reciprocated, and I feel like I want people to treat me the same way that I do. And if you don't, like that's just a reason for me to cut you off.
But Do people treat us the way we treat them, or do they treat us the way we treat ourselves?
They treat us the way we treat ourselves, obviously, but sometimes people just enjoy. They just enjoy.
And then,
yeah, I think it's
last
true.
question
They
before,
mostly treat us the way we treat ourselves.
we get into the question Dineo asked each of us. While we're speaking on patterns, I wanted to know from you, what are like some of the reasons that people are unable to like break patterns of behavior, or like what are like some of the, because like some people, I've met people that like I was so dead set on like not repeating this again, and then I find myself in this thing again, and I don't know how I got there again. So I want to know, like, what are some of the reasons that people might be like get caught in like this loop of actions, and what are some of the things that like they can do to like help themselves get out of it?
So the reality is that patterns of behavior, well, any behavior is very difficult to change. Think of someone who's trying to quit smoking or drinking. You don't just say stop drinking and then they stop drinking, right? So changing behavior is or rather behavior change is it's more of I want to change more than I want you to change. So until I realize that my behavior, let's say doesn't like the fact that I leave the toilet seat open up instead of down. I keep doing that until I want to change that. I will never change, regardless of how much it irks her. So in most cases, it begins by me acknowledging the fact that this is causing a problem in my relationship or in my life or in whatever context that I find myself in. And then what steps then do I take to try to change that? It could be seeking psychological help, talking to someone who's been through that. Maybe I want to quit smoking. How did you quit smoking? Then maybe I started exercising, or I replaced smoking with something else which was healthy. I started reading a book, or whatever the case may be. So in this case, I think we can say that for behavior to change, we need to replace it with something. And I think it would go back to what I asked Dineo. Did you ask the person what should happen for you to change? That in most cases, it's almost a question that what should we replace that thing with? What should we replace the fact that you don't text every day with? Maybe you should call every day, or maybe you should come see me every day instead of texting me every day.
But
so there should always be a replacement for the behavior
based
that we
based on the first thing you said, being for behavior to change, the first thing is somebody needs to acknowledge that like their behavior is not it, and for them to want to change it. So in saying that, then for me the conclusion comes to being like, okay, you're actually right to cut them off if like that's the first thing that must happen, because if no attempt at changing is made, it just tells me like, yeah, when you are taking me for a pee now, because based on what you're saying, it's like you saying that this means, or this person is not acknowledging that like there's a mistake on my part. So like they feel like maybe I'm just being extra, or I just don't understand them or something. So so that for me, like that, if that's the case, then like it's like, okay, yeah, your actions are justified, because like if that's the first thing that must happen, it just means that this person is not yet at a point in their life that where they see fault with how they behave.
Yeah, and I feel like for me personally, I just came to a conclusion that okay, if you're not gonna change to make our relationship better, it means I'm not important for you. Because like he just said, you decide on changing. It's not a me thing, it's a you thing more than it's a me thing. So it doesn't matter if like, it doesn't matter what I do, but if you haven't decided to change, you're not going to change. Which brings me to the conclusion that actually this person does not care about me because they're not even trying. And when they're not even trying, that's when I cut their asses off, because that irks me, because you're not even trying. It's like, you're not even trying. At least if you try, Wabona, you know that you will get somewhere. Now, one thing that I don't want people to misunderstand is that, like, you must not be afraid of cutting, like, people off and waiting for them to change if they are not willing to even make the necessary steps for the change to happen. I feel like I leave when I see that, you know what, telling your ass that, you know what, the toilet seat must be up, but taking it down, not even a single day. Wabana, if at least out of a month we have like one day where you remember to take it down, then we know that we get somewhere. We know that that is a work in progress. Now, one thing that I have a problem with is people who are only willing to change with their mouths because they want to impress you, because they're like, yeah, I'm going to change. And then tomorrow we go back to doing the same old shit. And then it's like, bruh, like, why are we even doing this in the first place? So what? I cut your ass off, and yeah.
So what Dino does, and maybe you can correct me there, is that she would tell the person, I don't like this that you do. And that is important, because what you're doing is that you're bringing insight. You're giving them awareness that your behavior is causing a problem in this relationship. And then you need to change it. And then the person, perhaps it doesn't click. And then she tells the person again. And then it doesn't click. The third time, perhaps it clicks, and then it's like, nah, I'm going to continue with this. Or maybe the person cannot change. It's really, really difficult for the person to change. So the important thing is that the person has insight. Are they now willing? Is it now? It's up to them. Okay, she told me she doesn't like this. Am I now willing to change for the sake of this relationship? And I think a relationship is a give and take. We have to sacrifice. We have to let go of some things for it to work. We have to,
But
put
before you
things
continue, Doc,
in for it to work.
like, what you still there on like changing for sake of the relationship? Is any change that like you changing for another person and not for yourself, like, really sustainable?
That's a good question.
I'm changing because
It's a
like
very good
Dineo
question.
doesn't like something. Can I keep it up and like, or am I just gonna be like 14 days in and then it's like, you know what?
The reality is that we are not islands. We don't exist on an island. Of course, if Dino wants me to change to start smoking drugs, that's a bad change. But if the change that she wants me to do will, of course, influence more than the relationship. Perhaps she wants me to start reading books. Let's say, okay, not reading books. Stop smoking, maybe, or stop smoking 5 cigarettes instead, smoke 2.
Stop lying.
That might
stop
benefit
lying.
me.
Yeah.
Oh, stop lying. Yes, stop lying. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Stop lying. And what can we do for you to stop lying? Perhaps we devise a plan of me stopping to tell lies. That will benefit me in the relationship and also out there. Perhaps I'll get a job which I'll be able to keep, because I'm not going to lie to my boss every day. So yeah, I think it would, although in the first place it looks like it's a change for the relationship, but it's going to actually benefit me outside of the relationship.
So what you say?
I think
so what you're saying is the person needs to recognize that the change that is being demanded of them is beneficial to them as well before like it can become consistent.
Yes, that's true. Yes, actually, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you have to sit and say, me changing will actually benefit me in this way and this way and that way. If it doesn't, really, why must I even change?
So basically it's all gonna come back to basically acknowledgement, like acknowledging, like, you know what, this is a problem. So what you're basically saying is, or the conclusion on this is, a lot of the time in terms of pattern, get stuck on like just acknowledgement. Like people just, whether it be ego or pride, just like refuse to like see like, okay, I have a problem, or like this is not healthy for this. And as a result of that, they get stuck in this loop of patterns. I wouldn't even call it stuck, because it's like, if I don't see something wrong with myself, I'm never going to change, you know, especially with someone else. So regardless of how many times Dineo points out that, like, you know what, this is shitty behavior, as long as I see it as like, but this is fine, you know, however I justify it to myself, then I'll never change.
Yes. Clinically, we would call it a lack of insight. When someone really cannot see that this is really causing problem, they lack insight. So what we do is we want to give them insight. I compared it to when Dineo says this is causing problems in this relationship. Recognize it, and then the person, whether they choose to, some they don't even choose, they just cannot really grasp the idea that this is causing problems. To them, it's like, what is she talking about?
But how
I don't see it.
How do we give them insight? Like you say, how is there a way that we can get someone to like a point where like they do have insight and like acknowledge that, like, okay, I see what you're saying about me?
Yes. Often the best way is to point out the problem. You know, you keep slamming the door instead of closing it nicely. You know, that's almost the direct way that we show someone that you are doing something wrong, and then perhaps let's find a way of fixing that problem. But some people it's very difficult, and some people it takes too long. You might perhaps, I think she mentioned that maybe she cut off someone sooner than, you know, they were able to fix their problem. So now I think the formula is now, at what point do I say I've tried to give this person insight but they failed to grasp it, or they did understand but they failed to implement change? So I think it's almost relationship dependent. At what point do we say I did try and they failed, or I tried, they did understand but they just refused to? Because even someone who smokes nyaupe really realizes that this is bad for my health, and then unless of course you're mentally, something's wrong with you mentally, you do realize this is bad for my health. But at some point it's like, I choose it feels so good that I really cannot leave it, or I don't want help now. I'll find help someday, and then perhaps it's too late. So I think it's almost relationship dependent as to when do we say.
And let me just point out something, that sometimes the other person's behavior starts now affecting you. It's like you're doing this thing so much that I'm becoming so moody, and it's affecting everyone around me, and I'm just a moody person and naturally a happy person, so I must cut you off.
Yeah, and being cut off is not nice. I was just adding on.
You know, but I wouldn't know, because like honestly, no, like for me it's like, because I live a life where like not talking to like my friends and people close to me for long periods of time is like a normal thing, you know. I wouldn't know if you cut me off like unless you told me so, because I live a life like I could go like for days or months on end without talking to you, and like we could still be good, you know, because life is life and everyone's just trying to figure out their own shit, and like majority of the people I'm surrounded with, like, they get it, because we all the same age. We're trying to find our own little place in the sun, so everyone is busy with their own shit. But so you know, like, I've probably been cut off, but I don't know it yet. Like somewhere, somehow, like I don't fuck with Paul anymore, but like I don't know, you know. So yeah, I can't relate to like the feeling of being cut off just yet. But yeah, I totally agree with what Dineo is saying in terms of, like, for me, that's the indication that, like, I've tried, and like how you need to go is like when you're starting to affect who I am. Like now I'm myself, and like you're disturbing my peace. I think that's where you're like, okay, like you need to go, because like now you've penetrated like my happy place within, and like you just chaos inside it. So yeah, we got to get you out.
I guess at some point you just get tired of being the bigger person. Because now you have to be the one who's understanding, you have to be the one who's forgiving, and the one that has to apologize for things that you don't even do. So yeah, it gets tiring.
That's true. That's true.
So, back to Dineo's question. You asked how we deal with breakups.
Yeah, you can
Of how we deal
you can
with
go
breakups.
first, Paul.
Look, I think because I used to internalize everything up until I was like 16, 17. So then I was like, I don't like this. It stays in there for like far too long. And like from like just then I decided like I'm gonna wear my heart on my sleeve, whether it's good or bad, So if I'm going through a breakup, best believe y'all gonna know, whether it be from my WhatsApp statuses saying how girls ain't shit, and like, I'm gonna like, I'll go through the denial stage, the anger phase, the whatnot phase, and I will talk about it. I won't talk about it to everyone, but like I do have like my own soundboards, I do have like people I talk to and like tell them like that person ain't shit. I hate them. I have that. I have that. So fortunately for me, I am a creative person, and like the cliche is always like people do like they like creative people do their best work like under dark circumstances, and like it's a very true thing. First book I wrote, Is It Because I'm Black? Like that was just like literally as I was writing it, I had just broken up with my girlfriend then. So yeah, like it's a great piece of art. So like for me, it's like I will find ways to Mac Miller once said that because like when you're in a relationship, like this person occupies so much space in your life, and like for how like you used to like for 5 days a week or for 3 hours every day, and throughout this day I'm texting this person, or I'm going on walks with this person, or going for ice cream with this person. So when they're no longer there, you have like so much space in your life that you've forgotten like what you used to do with before like you got into a relationship. And one of the greatest pieces of advice I ever saw was like when the late Mac Miller was telling some girl that if you just like walked out of your house every day, there will be like a million little things for you to do, and start living again. And like eventually like these little things add up to like a life again. So for me, even with me, it's like that. Like when I go through a breakup, it's I do so many things, like I just try to like start living again. Like I hardly ever call on my friends, but like I'll call up on them. Hey, like, do you want to go for lunch? Do you want to go do this? Do you want to go there? Just so that I can start living again and like feel like I have a life outside of this person, But like now,
Mm-hmm.
experience has taught me to like, you incorporate people into your life. You don't make them like your planet, you know. So like when we start dating now, like you get to be a part of planet Paul. You do not become planet Paul. So like the train is moving regardless of you. So like even if things do end now, like there's still a world. I'm still living. So there's not as much blank spaces I now need to fill like when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how I deal with my breakups.
Wow. If I could clap my hands, I would know.
How I deal with breakups, it's weird, but I think it works for me. At first, when I started dating, I used to get back with a person like countless times until I hate you. Like I would date you, we break up, and then we get back together, and then it gets to a point where I can't stand you anymore, and then that's when I say I'm totally done, and then I bury you, put a tombstone on you, and then I'm done. But now, now it's different. Like I learned to be comfortable alone. I learned a lot. I learned to love myself so much more that I don't want anybody disturbing that circle of mine or that aura of mine. And like I'm content, right now. Like I'm so content alone that when I let a person in and you fuck up once, we done. I'm not even gonna play those games anymore. Sorry. Hey, we should try. No, you can try somewhere else. We done. I don't do that anymore. I got to that point where I'm happy, way too happy alone. Then somebody makes me happy. I just get happy. But if you mess up that thing, that circle of mine, if you mess up my aura, just out. You're out, and then you're done. And yeah, that's how I deal with breakups. No hassles, nothing. But we end up on a good note. Not that we're gonna get back together, but go your way and stop. Good.
I really want to meet the person who hurt Dini so I can. You really messed up a good person for us. Because now she's just this, you know, like the people or persons.
The problem is that I'm a very loving person.
I'm sorry, continue.
Honestly,
I'm sorry.
I am. Wait, Paul, when you don't understand, I am. I'm a really
I don't understand because I am your friend and like you keep having this loving. I've known you for like 4 or 5 years now. I've never seen that person, so
I
I'm stuck.
get the same thing from you. I want to give you what I get.
No, but like no. I think the reason I fuck with you is because you are that person. Like, where's this loving?
I'm a loving person, but I don't tolerate shit. That's the problem. And then most people come with that. So now if you come at me that way, I'm gonna just give that back. I cannot be I cannot be the bigger person and cover your shittiness with my flowers. I cannot do that.
But shit makes flowers grow though. I'm just saying.
No, you can grow your own garden and come with that. Come with your flowers. Don't come with your shit. Come with your flowers. I'll give you mine. That's that. If you come at me sideways, and then I forget it.
So Doc, is there like a one size fits all like sort of memorandum answer for like how do you move on from a breakup or how you deal with it, or is it like very like a personalized thing? Because like you just saw, like Dineo has her own way, like cut you off before shit, like and Dini is Dini, and I have my way. But like, are they like for someone who's like sitting at home right now, like who's just had their breakup, or feels like they're about, or like have decided that they're gonna end their relationship, and like they don't know like what the way forward for them is? Is there like, like something like you can tell them like, okay, once it's over, like this is how you can like at least start to like mend yourself and put yourself back together?
Okay, so to answer you, there is no one standardized way of dealing with a breakup or moving on. But of course, we do have those maladaptive or rather maladaptive ways of dealing with a breakup. It could be perhaps I'm going to use girls until I feel that I'm over that one. That's a bad way of dealing with a breakup. Or I'm gonna drink alcohol and then I'm gonna, drink myself until I'm fine. Those are bad ways of dealing with a breakup. But then I think one of the most important one, of course, you guys have mentioned some good ones there. I think the biggest one that we should always remember is to never cut people off. And when I say people, I mean your support system. It's very important to make sure that your support system is always there during a break. Have someone to always talk to. Don't be there in your room and always thinking, and then find yourself blaming yourself or doing things that you find yourself that are harmful to you. So I think whatever you do, always make sure that, or whatever way that you are dealing with a breakup, always make sure that you have a good support system. We can never overemphasize the importance of a support system when dealing with any challenge in life. So I think that's.
But like you said, no man is an island, but are people like, are there people who are able to negotiate through like breakups like solo, alone, only one, without talking to anyone and anything, and just like deal with it in silence and just plow through it?
Yes. The reality is that we do have people who, some way, they do navigate through life alone, regardless of what challenge they come across. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way of doing things. Perhaps it works for them. I've just never encountered one that I can say that because.
Do these people stand like, are they more likely to like take themselves deeper into the hole before they can pull themselves out when they like alone?
That's a good question. I think then, it would then point me to this. Those people who tend to isolate and say, I'll deal with this thing alone, they are the ones then who tend to be more vulnerable when it comes to, mental health challenges or some challenge mentally, be it some depressive symptoms that they would encounter. Because you are alone, isolation is one symptom of depression. What happens when you're isolated? All these thoughts are just coming through. You're sad now. What else is going to happen in that state of being alone? Unless, of course, you say, oh, I'm alone and I'm working on this plan of actually dealing with things. But realistically, most of us, when we are alone, because we are dealing with a problem, most of us, we are thinking about things, self-blaming, anger, and all these thoughts.
What because I'd imagine like finding a way to like express yourself and let things out is an important part of dealing with breakup.
True.
So to people who like don't necessarily express themselves, because you do have those people, and like
yes,
what I always tell my friends is like you need to find like your way of like expressing yourself that like that's your release. And like people always keep saying that, like, I don't know what like my way of expressing myself is, and I don't know how to find it. So for me, the question is, how do you help someone find like their way of expressing themselves?
So yes, we are all different, and our expressions are the way we express ourselves will also be different. Now that's a very important question that I've always been fascinated about. When I meet someone and I ask, "Do you have friends?" Like, no. Then I would ask, "What is your emotion? How do you express yourself emotionally?" And they would say, "Well, I just keep it all in." It's a very unhealthy way of dealing with a problem. I would liken that to a bottle. You just fill it with water. At some point, it just spills over. So what I often do is I try to find what someone likes. What do you like doing? Some like reading, some like exercising, whatever. Some like writing. So if you like writing, it's another great way of expressing yourself. We would call this journaling. So they would journal their emotions every day. I would write about how I felt. Some enjoy drawing. If it's a child, you can give them a blank page and a paint. They would just draw things there. They're emotionally expressing themselves at some level if it's a child. So there are various ways. We should just find what works for us. Usually within a therapeutic space, we would identify these things and then try to pinpoint which one would likely work. So what works for you wouldn't likely work for me. So I need to find what would work for me.
So the important question there then is, what makes me happy? And in that I find how I express myself.
Yes. Not necessarily what makes me. What do I enjoy doing? Okay, if we have to look at all these means of expressions, I think that there has to be, of course, they are not unlimited. You can't say sleeping is a way of expression. So in these available ways of expression, which one would you enjoy? Which one do you enjoy doing? And then perhaps let's use this as a means of self-expression, or rather emotional expression.
Yeah, one thing that I really want to know is, because I've always struggled, like everyone knows already how I am, maybe how I deal with things. I've always struggled with people who have a problem with leaving things that are clearly hurting them, but they keep going back. Now, I know that like there are some psychological problems connected to that, and yeah, it needs professional help. But one thing that I've always struggled with is like, how do I help a person like that?
How do you help a person leave?
Like there are people who are just addicted to toxicity. They cannot leave toxic situations no matter what you do. And I always find myself very frustrated because I have friends like that. Because I can't understand, because if I see something toxic, bruh, I leave, run away. So I've always struggled to sort of help them because I don't know what to do. I end up just getting mad and I'm not patient with them. And then it's like, what am I supposed to do? Because it's clearly hurting you. Like you're standing in a fire, you're burning, but you're not running. What is the problem?
I used to be that friend, let me just answer you on that. I used to be that friend who had a very toxic somebody, but not a physical thing. It wasn't physical. It was emotional and, verbal. People could see that, but for me, it was like, he cares a lot and whatnot. Until I got fed up with that, until I saw it like through other people's eyes, instead of me being gullible over that. And then I took that decision where, you know what, this isn't it for me. But I stayed for a long time. Like not even thinking about what other people were saying, what other people were seeing. I didn't even mind that. But for Ned was that I'm comfortable with this person to a certain extent, and then all of these things that you guys are saying, he has something to back it up with. So yeah, those people can be super manipulative. Toxic people are very manipulative and they're very good at it. And then you fall for that so much that you don't even see that you are in the fire until you just get burned by yourself. That's when you realize that okay, this isn't it for me.
So it all goes back then to what we were saying about to change, self-acknowledgement needs to happen first. Otherwise, even if we do a handstand and we cry and cut our own wrists, you won't do it. It's all about like the person that needs to walk away from this needs to like acknowledge that the situation is what it is first and foremost.
True.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, I remember what my dad once said to me, ne?
What did he say to you?
Ngwanaka.
Ska.
O ska tlogela batho.
Ba o etse push.
Ba o etse push, ngwanaka. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
Shoo. Papa. No, my boy.
We didn't title the segment, but we found like a bunch of dear Auntie Mang Mangs on the internet of people asking for help and advice. You know, like those advice columns about relationships and stuff. So we're gonna read a few of them and see if we can give some advice.
All right.
So the first one says, so I was walking nicely with my boyfriend holding hands. Out of the blue, he said, let's see who runs faster. If I reach the next street before you, we break up. If you reach it before me, we get married. I told him, game on. Mogai ran faster than Kasta Semenya. When I reached the next street, he wasn't there. My number is blocked. He also blocked me on social media. So like there's no real question here. This is just like for me, like specifically speaking on breakups, like this works perfectly. Because like this guy he needs an award for the most creative breakup ever.
I think he deserves it.
Yeah, like this guy just took like breaking up to another level. But like this brings me to the question of like, because it's not easy, like some people find it really hard to break up with people, and like I know people who like, I want to break up with this person, but I'm gonna wait till they screw up so I can have like a valid reason.
Especially guys.
Yeah, like you're right. Like guys have that thing. I don't want to make it seem like I'm the one who hurt her, so I'd rather leave her under the impression that like she hurt me, and then like I used to be that guy. Full disclosure. So it just like it seems like easier and more convenient to just be like, yeah, okay, sharp. If you break up with this person, like now they're crying because of you, so like no, let's just wait till you screw up and then leave.
But But that is a very stupid way of dealing with things, though. I feel like, because I feel like you men, especially guys, because you guys have this problem, and I don't care whether you agree or not. You think that other than talking about something and just ending stuff and being like, you know what, I just don't love you anymore, let's just end it. You'd rather just mess up so that she gets hurt and then y'all can break up.
No. You are. That's a totally different thing from what I'm talking about. I'm saying the guy who waits for her to mess up, not like him messing up. That's like that one is like that one is messed up.
But
Well,
that
all of
type
them
of
are messed
waiting
up,
for
but I
her
feel
to
like
mess up is also messed up. Because I'm pretty sure that the mess up is not going to be like super huge, and then you just gonna leave her because she forgot to buy you something yesterday. Like it's something as petty as that. It's like, bruh, like grow
yeah,
some
the milk is
balls,
sour, bitch. Bye.
grow some balls, sit down and be like, you know what, this shit is over. I feel like men are just under the impression that we cannot handle the truth.
Well, at the same time, you have proven on so many occasions that you cannot. Like
But
so,
it's not
they
for it's
when
not
they
up to you guys to
no,
decide.
but I don't disagree with you, but I feel like that side of the coin has like yes, uh, men do like have that conclusion that like yeah, you know what, like women cannot handle the truth, but then like they like there's substantial evidence to prove that like you cannot handle the truth. For like, tell me the truth, I won't get mad.
But
Next
the
thing you
thing.
know, she's back.
Listen, how can you believe that I won't get mad if you tell me that you cheated? Like, bruh, like think about it. You guys just want us to be happy about the
No,
truth that you guys tell us. Like, it's up to me.
no, no,
The
no, no,
truth
no,
is
no,
up
no.
to me.
But at least own up to it. Don't try and coerce me into something. Don't tell me the truth, I won't get mad, or like
Well,
I
duh,
won't
Paul.
like
If I
I
say to
won't
you,
throw a
Paul, if
fit.
I tell you the truth, promise me you won't get mad. And then you're like, yeah, I won't get mad. And then I'm like, boo, you're not the father of our child. Are you not going to get mad?
Well, I don't know because I don't have that problem. So, but I'm saying that you saying that we think like you can't handle the truth, and I'm saying like you like or like whatever you said in that line, and I'm saying like yeah, evidence suggests that you can't. That's all I'm saying.
No, but how can you
I'm not saying
how
it's
can you expect me not to be mad about something that you did that you knew very well might make me mad? Like, does that even make sense?
but there was no expectation until you there was no expectation until you said I won't
Yeah,
get
because
mad.
I'm
So if
just
you say you
trying to
won't get
get you
mad,
to confess because you guys don't.
so like then don't expect the truth. Because like you said, and like I don't think it's just like a romantic relationship thing. I think like in all relationships, like we now call them white lies because like we know like yeah, people say they want the truth. I don't think people really want the truth. I don't think
They
they
do.
do.
I do.
And that no, they
Well, I
don't.
do.
Listen,
I'm not
but
talking about people, I'm talking about
you are built,
myself.
you,
I
you
do.
you are built different. You are built different. But okay, like this brings me to like uh with like social media now and everything, like, and everyone has this thing of like um your boyfriend is not posting you because of this,
Yawn
or your
first.
girlfriend is not posting you because of this, blah blah blah. And uh I like there are people who are like introverts and private and all that shit, granted, but it's not all of us. And there are like things that have happened on social media have made people like hide their relationships. And so for me, like the thing was, okay, so you ask people like, okay, so like why don't you just post them? It's like uh because I'm afraid of what I'll find if I do. And whether this be a him or her. you know and for me that just I like in my head, I'm like, but like, wouldn't you want to know that like you're not the only one, you know? And like people are like these days are like, nah, I'd rather like live in my own content little misleading bubble of happiness than like have to face like the truth. And I'm saying that I don't think people want to know the truth. I think people want to like believe what's in front of their eyes for as long as possible.
Yeah, but I feel like what is wrong with the world now is that we are very different. Like, I want to know the truth and I can handle the truth, and you must tell me the truth at all times. But then now, because we're now, you just have this preconceived notion that, oh, you know what, women cannot handle the truth. You just decide to do what you want to do.
But like that yes, like but like that's like human behavior is based off pattern. If 7 out of 10 women you've dated could not handle the truth, you're not telling the truth. You just like based on the substantial evidence I've collected, this is what I'm rolling with.
I guess.
That's what happens.
And I feel like
that's what happens.
And I feel like what this guy did, like he gets 100 for like creativity. That's just wow. Like he was so creative. He was very romantic in a terrible way. Like it just wow, it blows my mind. And like one thing that I'll always like commend people for is like just removing themselves from a situation instead of like stringing people along. So he was like, you know what? I can't tell her that I want to break up with her. Let me just have a race with her and then never see her again. I mean, that that will cause a lot of psychological problems on her part. But I feel like for me, I'd rather choose that over you stringing me along, knowing very well that we are not going anywhere, and promising me all of these things, because he clearly is very romantic, because it was like, bam, you know what? If you and I'm marrying you, he sounds like a very romantic manipulator to me. So I feel like if he stringed like this girl along, like it would have been a disaster and a cyclone on its own. So I feel like I commend him for like just removing himself from the situation.
What would have been interesting would have been if he had won the race.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Then he has to get married. Then he has to marry.
Yeah.
But see, men are smart.
So
he probably had a race with her before to just test if she's gonna win or not.
But yeah, like you touched on something very, very important there. I don't think it's just men. I think like people who like in general are like not who get they get over something quickly, you know, like the honeymoon phase for them is like you know, it's very short, you know. I feel like there are people who get into relationships and like immediately when they get into it, they start thinking of an exit plan. That like, how am I gonna get out of this if shit hits the fan, or like if this is not what it seems it is at this moment. So yeah, maybe like this guy has done this before.
Yeah, maybe yes.
Or like, but yeah, it's I think we'll hear a few more of these in the future. Where like niggas just have races of their girlfriends and be like, hey, if I beat you, then I've ran out of your life.
Just like that.
So, I have a second one here. It says, my boyfriend supports soccer abnormally. When his team loses, he doesn't want to talk or do anything. He switches off his phone and shuts everyone out. He's a chief supporter and they are always losing. I am gradually losing hope and interest. Hi, Chiefs. Your losing streak is now affecting people's relationships.
Yeah.
Someone must email Gavin Hunt, or it's more than a game now.
Yo,
She must
So,
get a man because that's
what
a
do you say to
boy.
this girl? What must she do?
Wow.
I'm just like, what's that? Why would you
serious.
do that? That is stupid.
Imagine him as a whole husband, as a whole father, and then Chips is busy losing. He packs his bag and he leaves the house.
No.
Like, no,
Hell no.
we can't. Now I have to go to parent meetings alone. When people ask me, I'm like, oh no, Chips lost again. So my man is somewhere
Sis
in
needs
the
to get
world,
a man
busy taking
and
his
leave
time
that
alone,
boy
still
alone.
recovering from Chips. We can't be having that. Like, I mean, I hate childish men, so I feel like that is just
It
super
honestly
childish.
is. Oh, what's
Yeah,
that emotional pillow? It's one of those guys that did emotional pillows. The one that's gonna tell you whether he's happy or sad.
What the fuck?
Like that is
I feel like that one needs your services, Vhonani, because wow, no. That one needs professional help.
Here's my perspective on it, though, was like, I don't think he's mad about Chiefs, honestly. I just think like Chiefs is a good excuse for him to fume about what he's really fuming about. I don't think like that.
Could be,
I think there's,
could be,
yeah, maybe.
because all like men are just some of them. Some of them. Let me stop hating on you guys, because some of you are actually doing the right things. Some men are actually passive aggressive, and yeah, they have very hurtful ways of dealing with things. Or he could be using it as an
yeah.
excuse to go to another woman. You never know.
That's true. That's true. Um, yeah, but also some people are abnormally in love with their soccer teams.
Ish, yeah. Some of them even die for that shit. It's like I don't understand. How would you die for a ball?
It's a very
A
funny
bunch of
one. This
men
one.
kicking a ball and spitting on the ground. Why? I don't understand.
When I was 4 or 5, I heard a story of a dude. Uh, his team lost and like shot the TV, then shot himself. Uh,
Mm,
I think, no. I think Betway has a lot. I think Betway has a lot to do with this as well, because people spend mad money on Betway. They can't be like being sure or like my team is going to win this, and I put like a cool 10 grand on shit, and I was supposed to get 100,000, and like because like football is football and it's not scripted. My team loses. I just lost 10K. You know, I think a lot of it has to do like with. It could be that this dude is gambling and like Chiefs is messing with his bet slip because like he got all his other shit right, but Chiefs just don't win, and he put them down to win as well.
Or it could be because I know of some people who they live in their mind a lot. So what they do is they choose one thing that they actually like, and that's the thing that's going to be in their brain. I
Yeah.
don't know if I make sense.
That
Like they live in
so
a
this is
fantasy, and then one.
like it's so like certain things create a placebo effect in their minds, and like when reality catches up with them, like uh this happens. I don't know if that's what you say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was like, Papa, no,
Skoiki senyona.
you know, Tama once said that to me, Skoiki senyona.
Skoiki senyona.
And I was like, no, good.
Yeah, so
It could be
yeah,
that.
those are the two I have for this week. Oh yeah, like for
Yep.
comedy sake, this is a question for the girls. So it's a runaway man and it's a angry soccer man, and these are the only two guys left on earth. And for Dineo's sake, they are both Korean and hot, you know. So for Dini, they are whatever Dini is into. She hates men, but like, let's pretend she doesn't for the sake of this exercise. I care. And Ntate Mudimu is like, there are no people on earth. And like, you know, there's runaway men and there's soccer men. You must choose one and repopulate with him. Who are you choosing? Just humor me here.
I don't mind being a single mother, hey. And we all know that your girl does not really, I don't deal with breakups. I don't have time for that shit. Like, I've been single for like 2 years now, so I was made for this. I was made for runaway man. I feel like that will be my pay. And whenever we meet in the future, when he decides to come back,
So that means
when
that
the marathon is
with
over,
the
he will
soccer
come back
person,
to
he's
me.
gonna die. So I'm sorry. Cause I'm probably gonna shoot him. It's not gonna work. There's no way. There's just no way.
I am editing that out just in case Dini gets implicated in a murder one of these days. I don't want to be responsible for Exhibit A
I'm not.
in court.
I'm just saying the kids will be fatherless, and that will be very understandable.
Yeah, I would help you, like, cause like, we can't be dealing with now you imagine how like Chiefs is losing so much, guys. Imagine in the next 5 years,
Kevin Hunt, something. People's relationships are in your hands.
It's a mess.
And the people must just notice how both of the problems are because of men. People must just notice that. We don't hate men for no reason.
Wait.
You guys just
These
are
are
doing
all
that
one-sided stories. So if like catch up,
Oksala.
we don't care. Oksala. Why
if we can
runaway men come and
if we can find Casta and she catches up with runaway man, maybe he can tell us his side of the story.
Yeah.
You know. And then like, yeah, even soccer man, like, who knows? You know, we don't know these people. Every story has two sides, you know, and you know, and what I've learned is people are always going to tell the side that favors them. You know. Yeah. Who knows? Like, maybe this guy's angry because like there's a Chiefs player on the field, like his wife or his girlfriend is cheating with. We don't know these things. And now like he's the one who's supposed to score, but because he slept with her last night, now he can't even perform on the field. We don't know these things. We don't know these things, you know. Yeah, maybe runaway man, I don't know. Maybe
just run away.
Maybe
just run away.
Just won't.
You see, you don't know. You see, you don't know.
Like, you know, hopefully one day we'll catch up with him. Hopefully. Yes. So I think that concludes our part 1 of Matters of the Heart.
Yes. Cancel Valentine's Day.
I agree.
When is it again? When is it? Is it in March?
4 days before his birthday. After, I mean to say.
That's why I don't recognize
But
it. I do not recognize it.
here's my sentiments on it. Like, people who eagerly await Valentine's Day are usually the people who only get to be made to feel special and like there's the center of attention for one day out of 365. So, like the people who feel like every day is Valentine's Day with their significant others aren't even making
Yeah,
a
that's
fuss of
true.
it,
That's true.
it's just another day for them. I think, you know, and like Christmas, it's just like another way for the people who sell teddy bears and chocolates and other nice things
Choice
to make money.
assorted.
Yes, you see, the Choice Assorted came up with Christmas. Like, that was the selling point for black people. Like,
Yeah.
there's gonna be one different kinds of
Yeah,
biscuits, and we're
it's
gonna
true.
call it Christmas.
So, in the words of a wise poet from Mudimole, wake up, black person. These white people are trying to make you finish your money. Don't do it. Break up with your partner. Don't.
Run away from her. We will be back next week,
Same place.
same time, a different angle on this love shandies.
And we thank the
Thank
well-spoken
you,
doctor.
Vhonani.
Yes, he will be back again next week.
We
He's
thank
gonna
him
be
very
with
much.
us the whole month, so you can thank him month end when you're supposed to give him his
Yeah,
paycheck.
maybe
You
it's
know.
1,000.
We'll thank him when you go consult again.
Yes.
But I already said, our presence is much more valuable than
You
money. We
know,
are blessing him with our presence for free.
Presence doesn't put food on the table, hey?
You're shy. True that. So yeah,
He doesn't.
we will be back with the doctor next week.
Second.
Good night.
bye.